Here's a guitar union video, and the topic of this video is going to be on the modes of the major scale and the intervals that they yield from being in different modes and as they relate to scale degrees. So here I have the chromatic scale written out a whole bunch of times, and we're starting in C. And if you know the C major scale, what I intend to do here is cover up the notes of the major scale, or of that are not part of the major scale, and see here that we have a scale degree that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1. So along here I have the C major scale written C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So these would be the modes. What this means is that by default, the 1 becomes the root of the other notes of the major scale. So if I cover up once again the sharps, we see here that the D now, that the second mode, which is also called Dorian, has the 1, the 2, but it has the flatted 3. F is the flatted 3 in relationship to D. G is the 4, A is the 5, B is the 6. So we see from 1 to 6, the only difference between the second mode and the first mode is this. So in a D major scale, this would have to be F sharp because it'd have to be aligned with the 3. That's what a major scale is. It's a set of scale degrees, a set of intervals. Then D goes to, so that's the second difference right there. So moving on with the third mode, which we call Phrygian. Cover these up here. We notice that right off the start, we have a difference from the major scale and the Dorian scale. The flatted 2 is part of Dorian, and then the flatted 3, but then the 4 and the 5 are the same in all of these, and then the Phrygian scale has the flatted 6, the flatted 7, back to the 1. Continuing on, the F, or the Lydian scale, we have a 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is just like the major scale except for the sharped 4 right here. So an F major scale would mean that this would have to be a B flat, and then everything else would be aligned with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Moving on here, we're going to move these over the sharp notes of G, and notice we now have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Mixolydian scale from 1 to 6 is identical to the major scale, and then we just have a flat 7. So not much difference there. It's just this last note that makes it different. And then in A, covering up the sharps here, we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and that's the 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and 1. Then the last chord, the B. The A is minor or Aeolian, G Mixolydian, A minor or Aeolian, B Locrian. Locrian is like the most like the Phrygian. It's got the 1, the flatted 2, the flatted 3, the 4. Difference is that Locrian has a flatted 5 and does not have a 5. You see the rest of these have 5s. and then it's got a flatted 6, flatted 7, and 1. Okay, so I think that the point of this video is to show you that what we're dealing with in scale degrees when we look at each of these modes. So a 1, this scale is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. This one is a 1, 2, flatted 3, 4, 5, 6, flatted 7. Now, of course, all of these scales, every scale is going to have a 1 in it because that's where you start. That's what it means. So then this one's going to have the flatted 2, and the rest of them are going to have the 2 except for the Locrian here, which has the flatted 2. And then the Phrygian has the flatted 3, 4, 5. That's the first one with the flatted 6, and then the flatted 7. Kind of crowding there. And then the Lydian, like I said, is just like the major. It's got the 3, then it's got the sharp 4, 5. Oops, drag the 7 first, 5, 6, 7, and then the Mixolydian. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flatted 7, and then the minor. It's pretty much just like the Dorian, except it's got a flatted 6, and then the Locrian has the flatted 3, 4, 5, flatted 6, and flatted 7. So what does this all mean? These are essentially 7 different scales that are in each major scale. We're inverting them, just like chord inversions. If we invert a chord, we have a different chord. In this case right here, we're inverting the scale, and thus we're producing a different series of intervals each time. And even though each one of these contains the same notes, when you make a different note the tonal center, it's going to emit a different feeling musically about it. Just play it for yourself and find out. Another thing we can take from this right here are the interval shapes that come from it. We can see, so for instance, we have, everything's of course a 1. So when we mix a 1 with a 3, 5, that's where we get our major chord from. So we can see the C is a 1, 3, 5. And notice the 5 is present in pretty much everything here. So 1, 1, 5, that's where we get our power chord from. So whether or not everything else complies, the 1, 5 is present in all 6 of the 1 through 6. The only one it's not is the 7 chord here, because it has diminished fifth. And then the chords that are major are the 1, 3, 5s, whereas the chords that are minor are the 1, flatted 3, and 5, which are these. And then the diminished, which is a 1, flatted 3, and then the flatted 5. So a minor chord has a note that's lower. So if we were to move this over here, the D major chord would be D, F sharp, and A, and that's what happens in the key of D major and a couple other keys. So we see we have 3 majors, 2 minors, 3 minors, excuse me, and 1 diminished chord. Notice also with the 7ths, notice how most of them are flatted 7ths. We have 2 major 7ths and 3 flatted 7ths. So this type of chart right here can help you figure out a lot of the stuff, a lot of chords. Let's take away some of these right here. In a few other videos, I've talked about how the 2, the 3, and the 6 all have the 2, the 3, and the 6 all have the pentatonic scale. Well, what's a pentatonic scale? A pentatonic scale is a 1 flatted 3, 4, 5, and flatted 7. And notice that happens on the D, which is the 2 of C, the E, which is the 3 of C, and the A, which is the 6 of C. In this case, all of those notes become the 1, but they all form the 1 flatted 3, 4, 5 flatted 7, which is a minor pentatonic scale. So all of those have it in it. Much the same, the 1, 4, and 5 all produce a major pentatonic, which is a 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Notice 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Ta-da! Okay, since all these, oops, forgot that I've covered up some of these notes, so I have to delete these carefully. I'm leaving the 5s there. So in another video I told you that there were five chords that were suspended, 1, 4, 5, and that's because 5 of the modes have the 4th. Actually, 6 of the modes have the 4th, 6 of the modes have the 5th, and 5 of them have the 4th and the 5th. It's only the 7th mode that has a diminished 5th and the 4th mode that has an augmented 4th. But as a result, we can get these right here. So when we're looking at the similarities between the modes, we're also finding out which chords can be done diatonically within the key, because the chords of a major key are essentially the 1, 3, 5 of that mode. The major and minor chords are anyway. Anyway, I hope this video shed some light using scale degrees over the modes, with each of the modes being the 1 and the scale degrees being the formula for creating it. I hope it shed some light for you. Maybe you already knew it. Great. If you did and you know somebody who doesn't know it, maybe this will help them. Share it with them, leave me some comments, and I'll see you at the next video. Have a good night, guys. Bye.